The kids want to go to Comic-Con, a comic convention. What do? They want to go with cosplay. They want to go as a samurai. What do? You go on the internet and you look up lots of pictures of samurai. Finally settle on Tom Cruise in The Last Samurai. That looks interesting. Okay, then you break down his costume into little bits. Notice he's got this padded shoulder pad thing underneath his armour. That's one part of it. He's got the armour, obviously. That armour consists of a breastplate, shoulder pads, shoulder armour, and thigh armour. He's also got some interesting square patterny bits and pieces hanging off underneath his armour. Let's break that down into bits. So, first of all, let's tackle the shoulder pads. Now, this looks, if you look closely at the picture, this is some sort of thick, leathery material with a hexagonal pattern embossed into the surface. My first thought was, well, how can we do that? I think we'll make that out of some camping foam mat. That's a traditional way for making armour. So we got some camping foam and cut it into a sort of shoulder type pads, which you can wear over your shoulder underneath the armour. And in order to get this embossed pattern, I used a large socket, heated it up, and then you can see here, melted the pattern into the surface of the camping mat. It worked quite well. I would have liked to have coloured this, painted it, but the paint I had really didn't take very well to this camping mat, but it still works as it is. So we now have his shoulder type padding under his shoulder. It's almost the right colour. That was fine. What's next? The armour. So what are we going to make the armour out of? No idea. It can't be made out of foam because the foam's too thick. It can't be really made out of cardboard. It's not really going to last. We need to make it out of plastic, in some sort of plastic. Where am I going to get lots of plastic from? Time to go shopping. Yes, I bought a dustbin. In fact, I bought 2 dustbins. Now, when you take them to pieces, when you cut them up into bits, you discover, let's say these two here are strips running vertically up and down the dustbin. They're made in this, can you see here, sort of stepped, there I think you can see, this sort of step in the middle of it. And interestingly enough, these 2 steps, get this right, overlap to form this kind of nice flexible. And you get a, can you see that? Sort of overlapping thing there. And it's the right shape, kind of, the right size, according to the pictures. And it would look quite good when you stitched it all together with some sort of lacing. So, next thing is to source the lacing. We sourced the lacing and we tried a test piece. Now, test piece, what I've got here, this is a greave for one of his legs, one of his shins. So we can see here we've got some straps. If we just ignore the straps for the moment, we've come on, let's look at the edge of it. I think you can see here they all overlap, and we've stitched it together with some blue string and hot glued the ends up, and then hot glued on some webbing with some Velcro on the sides of it, so it all attaches a bit like that, a bit like that. loops and his leg goes through the middle. It goes that way up. And then we've edged each of these sections with gold pen, actually. It's a gold felt tip pen, actually, acrylic pen. And that seemed to work quite well. So we then got a bit more ambitious, excuse me. And we created, you see that? Yes. So we created this. So lots of chunks of plastic, lots of poking holes. Each of these holes was poked in with a soldering iron, and we punched holes through the plastic, all in more or less the same places, and then laced it all together into sections. So we laced up this section, and we laced up that section, and we did another 2 around the back. That gave us 4 of these thigh plates. Then I did the shoulder pads, because they were more or less the same style as this. It's different sections. The final bend in these sections is created using a heat gun. Run the heat gun over the top once it's fixed, before you lace them up, actually, and then you can bend it into the required shape and lace it up together. And depending on how tight you get the laces depends on how much flexibility you've got. So, for instance, these ones for his greaves are very stiff, whereas the ones for his shoulder pads have are a lot loosely wired, laced up together, and therefore have a lot more flexibility. So this interesting shape, inspired by Tom Cruise's armour in The Last Samurai, was we cut this piece out of the dustbin, hot glued it on, and then laced it in just to make sure it was there. I think the hot glue's gone a bit now, but it still looks quite nice, and the laces hold it on quite well enough. Duplicated that across. Then we needed to do the armour on the front, his front and back plate. So again, long strips of dustbin, melted at the ends, well heated at the ends, and bent round to form the right shape, and then laced up together, laced up together, laced up together, laced up together. Spot the deliberate mistake where the lacing goes a bit wrong. I think that's probably the only place. Lost my concentration there. That's the deliberate mistake. Hanging off this suit of armour, as you can see in this picture, are some what turned out to be chainmail panels with bits of metal, I don't know, fixed onto them somehow. So shift that over there. We made these. It's actually a knitted vest of some kind. We bought at a charity shop. It's about the right colour. I think we sprayed it up in the end to make it. We bought these knitted vest, cut it into panels, edged it with this sort of craft foam, which was originally sort of brown leather colour, but it's worn through a bit of use, and then glued on these other panels of craft foam to represent the plates of metal, as you can see in the picture. And we velcroed along the top, and that velcro fixes in to velcro applied under the underside here. So you can, let's just try that out. You can fix it in a bit like that. And that will then hang down underneath his armour. So you've got something like like Tom Cruise does in his movie. And there's another one for the other side. We made him some greaves, as I've already shown you, the same sort of style. That's relatively easy. And now Tom Cruise in the movie doesn't have a helmet, and the samurai helmet kind of makes it all because of the wings coming out by the side of your eyes. So we found an old safety helmet for a construction site, spray painted it black, bit of a metallic sheen on it, put a nice badge on the front. I think that says warrior in Japanese, if I remember rightly. That's just painted on. Again, edged in this gold pen. Everything's edged in the gold pen to try and just make it look less like a dustbin, really. And then put actually stitched, it's basically stitching these bands of plastic onto the back of the helmet. So there's one band here, and that band is then tabbed. You can see there, tabs of that are cut out and bent out to give you the flare on the back. This piece of plastic I actually ran out of dustbin, so this piece of plastic here is slightly different. It's made of a plastic bucket that we had lying around, and then these are heat gunned and bent out to the right shape. So that's the helmet, and no samurai would be seen around without his sword, so we made him a sword. Now just wait a minute, I have to go and get his sword. Okay, back again. We know samurai would be complete without his sword. So this is made very simply. There is a piece of curtain rail running up the middle of it, which was bent slightly with the heat gun. Bit of too much curve on it, but never mind. The blade is made out of the same sort of camping foam as this, cut to shape, glued in with impact adhesive, Evo stick I believe, and then covered in this aluminium duct tape, shiny duct tape. The guard is another piece of dustbin. One of the handles, I believe, is just about the right shape and a nice curve on it, filled with another piece of foam, and the handle itself is a piece of pipe slotted onto the curtain rail and then wrapped in this sort of silky ribbon stuff, and that's his sword. Sort of not really going to hurt many people with that anyway. Now, and this is the final product.